Alright, what's up guys? So this video is going to be about emotions. This is probably like one of the biggest topics. Well, actually there are very big topics, but this is one that is pretty much said every single day, day in and out. I've lost 3 trades. How should I feel taking my next one? I just blew my account. What do? I want to give up. These are all emotions that are running through your head at this given point in time based off of what you have done that has gotten you to this emotion state. So I think emotions is actually one of the simplest things to control because it's not your emotions that let you feel how you are. As weird as that might sound, you feel emotional based off of the actions that you have done, and the actions you have done have given you a consequence, and due to that consequence you are now emotional. So for example, I feel like giving up. I have just blown my account. Well, your emotions are leading to you wanting to give up, but it's not because your emotions are telling you that. It's because you have broken your rules. Your actions have caused you to be emotional. You have broken your rules by not using risk management. Now that you have broken your rules, now your emotions are all over the place because you have now lost your money. But it is very simple. If you would have followed your rules and then only risked 1% per trade, it would have taken you 100 trades in a row to blow that account, which I don't want to guarantee anything, but I can very much assure you that is quite difficult. Let's be honest. To lose 100 trades in a row is quite difficult, and it will take you a significant amount of time. So due to your actions, by not following a plan, now your emotions have gone out. But it's not because you're emotional. Your actions have taken your emotions out of you. So the issue with this business is that we are in a limitless business, meaning there's no cap on what we can make. And yes, this is something very much realistic. There is literally no certain number figure on what we can make. One day you can make 500, the next day you can make 5,000, and you can add as many zeros as you want to that. And that is a fact, but this is what messes up people because they see all these big numbers, how we've spoken about on social media and all these platforms, and then they want to go out and then make that the same day or whatever the case is. So now you have done actions such as over leverage your account. So now you are emotionally attached to this because you have now put things up at risk that you were not okay with. So since there is no boundaries on what we can make, there's also no boundaries on what rules we should have, and that is where the issue comes in. So there are really no rules when it comes to trading. Like, you are not given like this plan, or you're not given in like this sheet where like, all right, this is what you have to do in order to, you know, get profitable or get these trades. So that's the problem when it comes to this, because we are used to being held accountable for whatever it is we do, because we're used to following the rules, and then there's boundaries and limits to things that we should and then shouldn't do. And there's consequences for breaking these boundaries and these rules, meaning that there's somebody there to hold us accountable when we do something wrong. Let's say that you're in a car and you're speeding, you get a ticket. If you're late to work, you get a tardy. If you get in a fight with somebody, you go to jail. Whatever, you guys get what I mean. Like, there's somebody there to hold you accountable for whatever it is you do, and your actions have consequences. In trading, there is nobody there to do that for you unless you have like a mentor or somebody that you go live every single day, how I do with the group, or somebody that is there every single day with you, and whenever you do something wrong, they slap you in the hand and like, no, don't do that again. But that's the issue. In trading, we need to be our own person to hold ourselves accountable for the things that we don't do correctly. Let's say we don't use risk management for the next 2-3 trades, and then it ends up going great or it ends up going bad. Let's say the trades go great, we're gonna feel happy, we're gonna feel like the king of the world, we're gonna start looking for houses and sunny isles or whatever the case is. But then if the trades go bad, then we feel like we've done something wrong, and then we don't hold ourselves accountable. We then tend to blame the market. And that is the issue, because we don't accept that we were wrong by breaking our rules, and we won't hold ourselves accountable. And then that's where our emotions go all over the place, and then we seek this magic equation that's gonna get us out of that situation that we're in, when it comes down to our actions leading to our emotions being all over the place. Another reason why we are emotionally attached to anything regarding risk is because we haven't really been taught how to manage and how to go about taking risk. If anything, we have been pushed away from it since we were kids. Oh, don't do that, it's too risky. Don't take that step, it might be too risky. Our family, friends, everybody around us just rather play it safe. We've never really been taught, oh, be a risk taker, do whatever it takes. That's just not something that we have been taught growing up. If anything, we have been told how to save our money and play it safe, not to put it up at risk. If we work so hard for it, we just put it in the bank, let it be there. It's better than being there than being in any other investments. So one of the fastest way to cut emotions is by cutting wrong actions. It's that simple. Don't go out seeking something else. Don't go out to speak to a psychologist. I already talked to her, I already got the answer. The answer is you are emotional because of your actions. If your actions lead to breaking your rules and then you lose, then that's when you get emotional. So in order to cut your emotions, you need to cut breaking your rules. It's that simple. I mean this by protecting your private capital, funding capital, private investors, whatever the case is. If you are managing money, you need to use risk management and protect the capital. We get emotional because we have worked hard and taken possibly other risks to get this money or exchange time for this money, and now anything that we do with this money, we have some sort of ourselves attached to this money. That's why we tend to be emotional to it. That's why I suggest do not risk money you are not okay with losing. So let's put this into perspective. I used to make at Dunkin' Donuts, just for examples purposes, so it's a round number, let's say $10, when I realistically used to make like $6, $7 an hour. But just for this example, let's say I used to make $10 an hour. And let's say I work 5 hours a day, that means I earned $50. So now this is your capital. Now this is your reward for the labor that you have done, for you making donuts, coffee, making sandwiches, throwing out the trash, cleaning the floor, cleaning the windows, whatever the case is. You have done a labor productive job, and now your reward is those $50. You have now exchanged 5 hours for $50. Now, knowing all the hard work that you have put behind those $50, would you go now and put your $50 or also 5 hours of your life into something that the majority of the people lose, and there is no guaranteed outcome of what can possibly happen, but there is still that percentage that it can go in your favor and you can have a great reward for what you have risked? Well, realistically, you probably wouldn't, because that sounds to me that there is more things against you than with you. So you probably wouldn't put all of your $50 at risk. But that percentage that is in your favor, that it can give you a greater reward for what you risk, keeps you in hope that you can possibly have a return. It keeps you in hope that, you know what, I'll take the risk. I'm gonna say this now, hope is not a confidence. Hope is nothing but emotions. Based off of the action that you have taken, now you are hoping for this to go in your favor. You are now hoping that what you have done is the right move. Hope is not an investment strategy. Hope is not a confluence. It is strictly emotions. You don't invest based off of hope. You need to invest based off of probabilities, ROI, and risk exposure. You don't invest simply because you just hope it will go in your favor. That makes no sense. What is the longevity in hope? What are you gonna hope the rest of your next 15, 20 years of your trading career that you're gonna hope, that you're gonna keep hoping you can get good trades? No, that's not an investment strategy. If you enter an investment already hoping for it to go in your favor, you're already wrong. You're already emotions are already gone all over the place. You have already done the wrong thing just to start. So now, realizing that, what I have just said, now you probably won't risk the full $50, because reality, it doesn't make sense to put all of your money into something that has no guaranteed outcome, has a higher probability of going against you, and you have no control over what happened. Because if you were to lose, then you just threw away 5 hours or a full days of work, and you feel almost that you've been robbed because you worked so hard for it and then it has been taken away from you relatively fast. So that's why people tend to get emotional, because like, wow, I have put so much hard work behind that money, and then now it's just gone in the matter of hours, days, whatever the case is, because you know the hard work that has gone behind those $50. So now the smarter thing to do, a real investment strategy, is to risk a certain percentage of those $50. Let's say you're only okay with risking 1 of those 5 hours that you have risked. Well, when you do that, you're like, all right, cool, it's not a big deal, it's just 1 hour, and then you don't really care about the outcome, in the sense that you are now not emotionally attached to it, and you're not saying, oh, please let this go in my favor, I have worked so hard for this, I lost a full day getting these $50. No, now you're not thinking that way. Now your mindset tends to be carefree, because like, all right, it's fine, I'm risking 1 hour, I still have a whole other 4 hours that I have earned money from. So that right there is known as the famous risk management. Yes, it's a huge turnoff for a lot of people. I don't know why, but risk management is what bankers, institutions, hedge funds, businesses, all the big boys, that's what they do. Why would we, the little fish, do anything different? I try to do or be as close as to the big fish as I can. If the big fish are going that way, I'm following the big fish. If the big fish use risk management, it's for a reason. These big institutions are not gonna risk 15-20% of hundreds of millions of dollars. It just simply makes no sense. And this risk management is done in every single business, any size capital. because everything is strictly percentage based. And this is something that you need to hold yourself accountable, because you do no good, honestly, saying, yeah, Alex, I'm using risk management. Like, I don't benefit if you use risk management or not. That's not my issue. That's entirely up to you. You do nothing with lying to yourself. You need to hold yourself accountable for the actions that you have done. So by using risk management and protecting your capital, you're not doing anybody a favor other than yourself. What you're doing is you're holding yourself accountable, because I don't benefit from you using or not using risk management. That is entirely up to you. It's your capital. You do whatever it is you want with your capital. I personally use risk management on my capital, and you don't benefit if I do or if I don't. So there's this little trick that the psychologist taught me, and then when I started implementing it, I realized how simple the strategy can be, you know, for self-recognition, but then it's how powerful it is. And then you realize how many times you tend to break the rules and how many times you have to correct yourself. So she asked me if I had a plan. I'm like, yes, I have a trading strategy. I have a strict rules every single time I take a trade. I pretty much check off a list. If the trade meets that list, I simply move on and I take the trade. And then she says, what do you do when you don't follow that plan? And I'm like, well, nothing really. And then she's like, well, what happens when you don't follow the plan? Do you win or lose? I'm like, it's usually 60-40. The majority of the time I do break those rules, I do tend to lose. And then she asked me, what do you do when you lose? I'm like, nothing, I simply move on to the next trade. And she said that that's great, but you need to hold yourself accountable. You need to almost like write yourself a ticket, or you need to pay a consequence other than the loss. So a trick she told me was very simple. Every single time you follow your trading plan, let's say you met all your requirements on the trade. For example, with me, every single time I follow my trading plan and I do everything according to plan that I have, at night I could take a hot shower. And I can take a hot shower because I hate cold showers. So every single time I break the rules, I have to take a cold shower at night. As simple and as cliche as that seems, when you're there at night taking that cold shower, that it sucks. Literally ask yourself, was that trade worth taking this cold shower, even if it went in your favor or not? Let's say you risk 2% and your plan says to only risk 1% and it went in your favor. Well, you broke the rules, so you need to pay a consequence. It could be something as simple as that, or it can be, let's say that you love sweets, so every single time you follow your plan, you get a sweet. Every single time you don't, you can't eat sweets for that for the next day or two, or whatever rules it is that you set yourself. But you're the only person that are gonna know if you break them, and you're the only person that is gonna hold yourself accountable when you break them. So that's a little trick that I use personally. I hate cold showers, so I do anything to avoid that. So I simply stick to my rules, and it's just as simple as that. Because nobody else is gonna be there to hold you accountable, so you have to take responsibility for your actions. So now we're gonna move on to the next video, which is greed and fear.